Today, I'm going to show you how to add a final exam to your course. To start, select the chapter you want to add the exam to and then just click Add Exam. Type in the name of the exam and click OK to bring up the exam editor. Next, you give the exam a title and use the slider to select how many questions you would like the exam to have, and then just press OK. As you can see, you have the question list here on the left and the area to set up your questions on the right. Start by selecting the question type. I'm going to go for a true or false question for the first one. Then just type in your question and you can include any additional information here if required. Scroll down and you can select which answer is correct by simply checking the box. You've also got the option to add some media here, anything from a web link to an audio clip, or you could just leave it blank. I'm going to include an image to give my learners a visual reference for the question. You can import a new image or simply take one from your asset library, which is what I'm doing. You can also add some feedback for this question, which will be shown to your learners after they complete the exam. You can fill that in just here. Next, let's edit question 2. And I'm going to make this one a multiple choice question. So once you've got your question in there, you'll need to fill in the possible answers. You can add as many answers as you like by pressing the Add Option button, or delete by clicking the X. Just type in the possible answers and select which one or ones are correct. You can also select if you want them to appear in a random order. If you do want them to appear in the order you've already got them, just deselect this box here. So now that I've filled in my answers, I'm going to quickly add an image for this question too. What we can do now is go to the settings menu on the left and preview the exam so that you can see how those questions will look to your learners. If we just flick through here, you can see that the questions appear in a random order at the moment. You can see how many questions there are in the exam and flick between them using the grid here. And you've also got a timer up here in the corner. If we just press OK and go back to our editor, we can find out how to adjust those bits. Starting with the exam settings, you can edit how you want your questions to appear. You can decide if you would like your questions to appear in a random order and also whether they see the question grid at the bottom of their exam screen. You can also set a time limit for your exam and decide whether your learner will see the countdown in the top right of their screen whilst they are taking the exam. You can see my exam is automatically marked out of 3, and that's because that's how many questions I've entered. However, you could, for example, have 100 questions but only mark out of 10, as in only show 10 questions to your learners, which would be randomly selected from your 100 questions, giving a different exam to each learner. You can also set a pass mark for the exam using the slider here. You can include some feedback to be shown at the end of the exam. Click the feedback options and enter any feedback you'd like to give your learners depending on their results. For example, the feedback you give a learner who achieves between 0 and 50% can be different to the feedback you give a learner who achieves over 50%. Last but not least, you can set categories for your questions in the advanced options. This is really helpful when it comes to analysing where your learners' strongest areas are and where they need to improve. Just add and name your categories here, and then select which category each question belongs to in the question editor, like this. Now your exam is ready to go. We'll be looking at how to track the results of your exam in a later video, but next we'll be looking at how to publish your course, so check out the next video when you're ready to get the courses out to your learners.